2025, I used a total of 7 different backpacks for all of my backpacking trips. And today we're going to talk about 5 of those 7 packs. This is the best and worst packs that I used for my backpacking in 2025. Now the packs that we're talking about today are the Gossamer Gear Skola 38, the Hyperlite Mountain Gear Unbound 40, the Gregory Paragon 50, the Hyperlite Mountain Gear Waypoint 35, and the Big Agnes Sweetwater 43. Now I want to start today by talking about my two top packs that I've used for my backpacking this year. And these packs are focused mainly around the goals that I've had for a lot of my trips, and that is being more minimal and more lightweight focused. Not necessarily a full ultralight, under 10-pound base weight kind of approach, but just being more minimal and lightweight with my gear. And these packs have helped me accomplish that by being more lightweight, smaller in capacity, and just a little bit easier to carry because of the way that they are made. Now, I'm not always going to be an ultralight or lightweight focused person. It all comes down to what I'm trying to accomplish with my trips. And in years past, I've been more traditional focused, and maybe in the years forward, it just becomes this like roller coaster ebb and flow kind of thing where I just enjoy using a bunch of different kinds of gear. So the first pack is the Gossamer Gear Skola 38, which is a frameless backpack. Now, I had not used a frameless backpack for quite a few years. And was I a little bit nervous about trying a frameless pack again? Sure, I was, because typically I'm in the 25-pound range of total gear, food, and water with my backpacks. And as I've been trying to reduce that a little bit, be closer to the 20 to 22-pound range, I wanted to try a frameless pack again. But there are some things that I really, really love about this pack, and it has to do with just a simple removable foam panel here on the back that is making it so that it provides a little bit of structure to the body of the pack, but I also have gear not protruding and poking right into the small of my back and everything. The harness or the shoulder system is also really slick. It transfers the weight really well on the pack. And for the trips that I've had this out on, it is one of the more comfortable packs that I've used in recent years, but it also comes down to the fact that I'm just simply carrying less weight in that case. But something that I did want out of a frameless pack was a removable hip belt, something that was actually going to help aid in transferring the load of the weight of the pack on my back. And the included hip belt that comes with the Skola, it actually functions well. Aside from the zipper pockets, the pockets that are on the padded part of the belt, they're pretty much useless. Like, you're not going to get a phone in there. You're not going to get much more than just like snacks and really small things like chapstick. But at least there is some kind of function there, and it's not just a piece of padding that comes around and doesn't add that much additional weight to the overall pack as well. You have really nice shoulder pockets that are stretchy here on both sides. So when I'm not using the hip belt, I still have a place to put my phone, to put other snacks or things that I want easy access to. And just the overall like construction and build of the pack is really nice. It's a 38-liter capacity. You've got an ultra stretch pocket here on the front that is plenty large. The side pockets of the pack could be bigger. They could have a little bit more volume to them to make it easier to get bottles in and out of the side pockets, especially when the pack is like totally filled out. It can be pretty hard to get your bottles in and out, just really tight. And there's not a lot of space. Like, you're not going to get 2 bottles in here is basically what I'm saying. But you also have a zipper pocket here at the top, which is a nice place to put other small things that you want easy access to, that you want to make sure that they're more secure in that space. And then an over the top single strap, it's not a Y strap or anything, and a roll top entry. It's a really simple, minimal pack, but it also carries quite well. It also has, I think, a fairly reasonable price point, just a little bit over $200 for a minimal ultralight frameless pack. Gossamer Gear did a good job on this. And this is part of their Type 2 collection. They've got a bunch of other options, but I'm impressed. Like, this has been one of my favorite packs that I carried for my trips in 2025. Now, favorite pack number 2 is the Waypoint 35 from Hyperlite Mountain Gear. This pack has seriously been impressive, and I have enjoyed it so much for my trips this year that I've had it out on. This is a pack that I got after I had been using the Hyperlite Unbound 40 because I thought the 40 was going to be smaller than it actually is. I wanted to try one of the smaller options from Hyperlite, so that's why I bought the Waypoint 35. And I have fallen in love with this pack. It is such a nice design. It's super comfortable to carry, and it is a framed backpack, a simple frame system in the way that it's built. It has a single stay that goes through the back panel here, and then there's some foam and padding that goes through the back panel. But this is a pack that is also not meant to carry maybe more than 30 pounds total for a comfort rating. And what I've carried in it so far, up to about 26 to 28 pounds, it's been totally fine in that case. But this pack is also different enough from the Unbound that I didn't feel like I was just buying the same pack twice, just in a different volume. You have stretchy shoulder pockets here on the shoulder straps. You also have good sized usable hip belt pockets that a phone will fit into no problem, at least an iPhone 16 that I have that's not the Max model. And the hip belt is also directly integrated into the body of the pack itself. So unlike the Skola where it just clips into the sides, this is wrapped through the lumbar of the backpack and then creates that full support hip belt that you want out of a backpack. Now, my one knock on this pack, as well as the Unbound, is the hip belt area just seems to be slippery. It just slides down and doesn't really hold its place in the lumbar of your back. I'll talk about that more when I do like a full breakdown of this pack versus the Southwest and the Unbound. But aside from that, it's incredibly lightweight. It uses a really robust, strong type of Dyneema stretch fabric here on the front. And it's just big enough for being a 35-liter size pack for me to get the few pieces of gear inside of here that I want. And the side pockets are bigger than they are on the Skola, which I do appreciate. I'm able to get a few more things in here. A bottle fits in there, not quite as tight, so it's a little bit more enjoyable to get in and out while I'm wearing the pack. And it is a roll top design with a Y strap here on the top for you to put a jacket or a closed cell phone pad or a chair here on the top. You are not going to get a bear canister here on the top. Before an ultralight focused backpack that's made from a Dyneema composite fabric and just has the heritage, if you will, of design from all of the Hyperlite backpacks, this thing is really, really cool. And I see it being one of my go-to backpacks when I want to go more minimal, more lightweight, and not carry as much gear, because it is just such an enjoyable pack to use. So that is the Waypoint 35 from Hyperlite Mountain Gear. Now, the next two packs I want to talk about are packs that I'm impressed with based off of their functionality and versatility to be used in a lot of different situations and different types of gear loadouts. The first pack I want to talk about is the Gregory Paragon 50-liter pack. This has been a pack that I have a little bit less personal experience with, but the reason I'm talking about it is because I've been able to observe it being used in the field by some of my students that I have lent the pack out to use, as opposed to using a program pack that's in the 85 to 100 liter size, and then they're overpacking this monstrosity of a backpack. This pack is super versatile. It's a more traditional style of pack. It is 50 liters in size. It has all of the things that you would see from this design, in that you have bottom straps here, you have a zipper down here for a sleeping bag compartment, stretch mesh pocket here on the front, a top lid with a cinch collar top and a strap that comes over that as well. And then your pretty typical side pocket stretchy mesh material here on the side that is hard to get bottles in and out of, as much as they try to make that accessible and available for people. But the back panel and the hip belt and suspension of the pack, this is a fully framed pack, but you have a little bit of ventilation here. You've got a really nice, like, stiff and comfortable hip belt, and then what you would expect to see from any shoulder strap. There's no pockets or anything on the shoulder straps aside from this little like mesh thing that's here. That's actually supposed to be for like a Garmin InReach Mini for you to slide your Garmin in there. But what makes this so versatile is the ability for it to work for different torso sizes and body sizes. You have a adjustable torso length that up and down obviously change the torso, but then you also have the ability to adjust the length of the hip belt. Now, this pack is going to come in other sizes than just a 50 liter, as well as different small, medium, or large. So based off of that, you have a lot of functionality, adjustability, and options available to get something that can work for a lot of different situations and be used between different people. I've got students that don't have access to a backpack. They need to have a good experience out on the trail. Letting them use a pack that I can easily adjust to fit them really nice and be comfortable, that's a huge win for me. And I also am really impressed with just the build and the design of the Paragon. You've got plenty of space, it carries well, it's a fully framed pack, and it's not overly heavy as well. They just did a really, really good job with this. You do also even have a side entry zipper right here that a little hard to do with me just holding the pack with one hand, but if I want easy access to things right there as well. It's just a really feature-rich, awesome pack that also has a very reasonable price point as well. So that is the Gregory Paragon 50. Now next up here is the Hyperlite Mountain Gear Unbound 40. This is a pack that I very specifically purchased to use as my pack for the Uinta Highline Trail that did not happen because of a wildfire, and then ended up taking it out to California to the Sierra to use on another big trip that was a replacement for the Uinta Highline. And then that trip ended up being cut short because of a wildfire. I think that it's just a really cool backpack that provides a lot of functionality, a lot of versatility, because it's pretty deceptive in how big it actually is. Here on the pack, it is a roll top pack. I'll talk about the size and everything here in a minute. It's still a 40 liter capacity, but that's a 40 liter internal capacity. Here on the outside, you've got a stretch pocket here, but what's kind of unique is there's a secondary stretch pocket here at the bottom, which actually you have access to the inside of this bigger pocket here from the very bottom. So it was cool to be able to put like my poop kit, my first aid kit, and that stuff here on the top, and then easier access to my water filter and my Canuck Vecto in this pocket here, as opposed to everything being in one big pocket. It does also have a bottom pocket. I don't find myself using bottom pockets, so it's nice that it's there, but it's not something that I have used yet for my trips. But that is the nice thing, is compared to the Waypoint, it doesn't have a bottom pocket. This does. And so there is enough difference in both the size of this pack and the features of it that the Waypoint and the Unbound are two very different backpacks. And so that's a nice thing. You still have a Y-strap here on the top. You have really big pockets here on the side that easily is going to get two Smart Water, or let's say Canuck through bottle size, or Nobo bottle size here on the side, since that seems to be the trend since 2025 is the year of the water bottle. hip belt pockets that are very large, generously sized. You're able to get a phone and anything in there that you need, and you have pockets on both sides. Now, unlike the Waypoint, you don't have shoulder strap pockets. So you are limited in a little bit of the pocket selection, but I think that these hip belt pockets are a little bit bigger than the Waypoint, and so that is a little bit of a compromise there. Now, this is a fully framed backpack as well. Similar hip belt situation as the Waypoint that I described earlier, where it is a full wraparound hip belt that integrates to the body of the pack. But again, I have the issue with this where this lumbar section is just kind of slippery. So over time, the back panel just tends to slip and ride down your back a little bit, so then you're having to adjust the hip belt a bit more to kind of compensate for that. But here for the top of the pack, this thing is deceiving in how big it is. And what I was able to do is get, for my Sierra trip, I was able to get my full summer warm weather kit inside of the pack with a BV 475 bear canister, a bear vault, upright because it doesn't go horizontally down on its side like a 450 would, but still have space inside of the pack in even that situation. So it is a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be, and I'm glad that I went with the 40 as opposed to the 55, because same thing for me with the Southwest 55. I was like kind of shocked at how much space and volume is inside of that pack. But the Unbound is cool. I am going to do deeper dive videos on the Southwest, the Unbound, and the Waypoint as a side-by-side comparison here at some point, because I've just been impressed with the Hyperlite backpacks. They are expensive. They are made from a Dyneema fabric, and they're not cheap backpacks. I totally understand that. But I kind of kick myself a little bit for not trying them sooner, because they're really good backpacks. And the Unbound and the Waypoint, they both made it into this video because I've enjoyed them that much and look forward to using them in 2026. So that is the Unbound 40 from Hyperlite Mountain Gear. Now, not every backpack is going to be this perfect, amazing experience. And I want to talk about the one pack that I used this year that is the dud of the whole group, the worst that I have used. And that is the Big Agnes Sweetwater 43. Now, I had really high hopes for this pack. I was really anticipating getting out and using this pack, but it just has not done what I hoped it would do. And I think at this point that Big Agnes might highly consider just stopping with the backpack line completely, because the previous packs that they created also had problems, and this pack I'm just not a huge fan of. And I did a full review of this pack and shared my experience with it, so I'm not going to go into every little detail, but there's just things that miss the mark in comfort and the ability for this to carry the weight effectively and to be something that is, in my mind, going to last for years and years of time on the trail. The biggest thing for me is this mesh here on the outside of the pocket, or outside of the backpack, is not a more high quality, robust mesh. And there is a lot of it. And in fact, on my first trip out with the pack, I had kind of like a production sample, so it wasn't a full production model. And so I can't show you that hole right here, because this is actually a second backpack that Big Agnes sent me, because I shared all the feedback of things that I didn't like about it, with the hip belt digging in, as well as just putting a lot of pressure up on my shoulders and not being as comfortable as I would have liked it to be. And then first time out with it, getting holes in this mesh. And if there was a little bit less of it, or is more strategically placed, as opposed to being in really like high abrasion areas of the pack, then I might not knock that so much, because even the Gregory doesn't have like an ultra stretch or a Dyneema stretch pocket on it, but it's not so much that it's just going to get completely trashed in a short period of time. As well as it's on the side here as opposed to a more durable kind of like 3D shaped pocket for the side. I understand what Big Agnes was trying to do and create a just minimal, really straightforward, streamlined backpack that people would want to use for through hiking or kind of an ultralight focused concept, but it just, in my mind, hasn't delivered on that. Now you do have an adjustable torso with this where you're able to adjust the height of the shoulder straps and no adjustment on the hip belt. The hip belt continues to be an issue for me with Big Agnes and making their belts too big. Like they just wrap around too far and then you don't have as much adjustment with them as you should, as well as this cutout here on the hip belt just doesn't really serve the purpose that I think that they think it's going to. It actually creates some weird pressure points and doesn't allow for the belt to properly carry the load that this pack is able to carry. The shoulder straps are also not quite ideal. They could be a little bit more dialed in. The mesh pocket here on the front is a single pocket and it's huge. And if they're going to do a vest style, kind of running style strap here, I'd like to see multiple pockets, because here on the hip belt, there are no pockets available. So I encourage you, if you are interested in this backpack, to take a look at the full review video that I did of it. But this misses the mark for me in 2025, and I would recommend not getting this pack because it's just not quite what it could be compared to so many other options out there on the market. So that is the Big Agnes Sweetwater 43. My friends, thank you so much for watching this video today. Let me know what questions or comments you have down in the comment section. I've got links for all of these packs in the description. But also just keep in mind, these are the packs that I have used in 2025. There are other packs that are amazing and still really great options. These are just the ones that I chose to use and test for my trips this year. Thanks again for watching today. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. I hope you have an awesome day. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later.